expecting it to be. Okay, let's just get right into this. Day one. Day one. Day one. This is my day one. Day one. Day one of many times of saying day one. Day one to me means a lot of things. Day one can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. To me, day one will always be a reference I use to anyone seeking some help. You gotta take day one. February 12th, 2021, I took my day one. And fast forward to today, August 31st, 2024, I'm taking another day one. What that day one is about 2 years of procrastination, of avoiding this day one. Me wanting to start a channel for myself, for my work ethic, for my accountability, to avoid procrastination, and just go through this process again of day one, of putting myself in a little bit of a state of uncomfort, of self-doubt, the lack of motivation, the idea of thinking that this won't turn out to anything, and just doing day one. And what my day one was in February 12th of 2021, it was the day I quit drinking. The day that I told myself, this is it, this is it, this is it. I can't do this anymore. I can't wake up feeling like this. And that day one had been something I've been telling myself for months, if not maybe almost years, of like, I don't want to do this anymore. But the want has to also have some desire and the ability to step out of that comfort zone of, you got to try to do it. You got to do it. And it's getting outside that comfort zone. It's, even though your comfort zone is a toxic place, it's still going to keep you there if you don't change. It's the definition of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting one day you're going to wake up and somehow something magically change. That's just not the case. And I did that. I remember doing that all of 2020 and then early January of 2021. And then finally it just, something snapped, and I woke up the next day. I worked very heavily in the bar industry and for over probably 10 years, and waking up finally that one Monday morning and telling myself, this is it. I walked into my office, I left my bar job, I told a lot of people what was going on. Unfortunately, the pro of being a bartender is, if when you've got some sort of depression or alcoholism going on, is when you're the bartender, you're kind of the life of the party, and you can definitely camouflage what's going on internally when you're behind the bar and you're having fun with people, or you're dealing with other people's problems. And most people don't go to a bar to see what the bartender's problems are, so you're usually able to hide that depression when it's nobody else's problem and they're there to have a good time. So I finally, I mean, it was Monday after Monday after Monday after Monday after Monday of being like, you know what, I'm done doing this. And then just to kind of shake that hangover off and just find myself back on a bar stool, because that was the easy route out. I never had the energy. I had it up here. I didn't want to be up here anymore, but the energy that I had to distribute to make new changes, and I just didn't do it for the longest time. And finally, luckily, I started surrounding myself with a little bit better people in the fitness industry, and I was really kind of on the fence between, do I maybe need to go to rehab? I'm looking at some friends that I had lost to alcohol and to drugs and to addiction, and I was kind of starting to put myself in that category, and I didn't want to be one of those people that was no longer here anymore. So I luckily had gotten some motivation from some people at my gym, and I decided to, I kind of just went the whole cold turkey route. And February 12th, 2021, I parted ways with my job. I was very honest, and one thing I'll talk about in this channel, on top of the other things that I want to bring to this channel, is just honesty, blatant, blunt honesty goes so far. And the one thing I was honest with myself. I was honest with the people that didn't know. And I said, if you're not going to support this, then I just can't be around you anymore. And unfortunately, that is one thing that you do have to deal with when you do want to make a change with sobriety is there's usually a lot of smiling faces that are not the people you should be around. And I was honest with myself. There's a lot of people that I owed apologies to. There's some people that I had to part ways with, and there was just, you just need to be okay with maybe your circle getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So again, this will be something that I kind of go over weekly in this, on top of the things that I want to bring that are way more on the positive of what I'm doing with my life now and the goals that I have now moving forward and goals that I have in the future. But the one thing that helped me kind of cope with this day one was I've been nervous about doing this for a long time. I know there's going to be people that will give me crap for trying to start a YouTube channel, and they're probably right. You know what? I'm not really sure how good I'll be at this, but I've been wanting to do this for a long time. And like I said, everyone's got to have day one. You've got to be nervous. If you're not nervous, you just don't care. And one thing I tell a lot of the youth athletes that I coach is that if you're nervous, that's good. Use that nerves to perform your best. And I'm nervous about doing this YouTube thing, but I know with the last year I've done some pretty awesome things, and I just really think that I could document that and give that to you guys to use as your own motivation. As I'm a 36-year-old single dad living in Davenport, Iowa. Like, there's nothing crazy. I'm not some rich influencer. I'm an average Joe that still finds beauty in everything I do, between being a dad and being a personal trainer and being a sober ambassador in my area. It's been about 3.5 years since I've quit drinking, and I kind of forget the person that I was, and I remember the people that helped me get where I am at today. And I think using this is a reminder to give that back to either a small community or a worldwide voice on it's never too late to hit that restart button. So that being said, I'm just going to take you along for just my daily life of being a dad, being a personal trainer, training for multiple, obviously, endurance events. That's kind of the thing that happens when people tend to quit addiction, is they tend to want to jump into a field to fill that time. And that's one thing we're going to talk about now is, what do you need to do when you quit? What do you need to do? What steps do you need to take when you decide to quit or move away from any sort of toxic addiction? Okay, let's talk about time. I was someone that, when I wasn't bartending, I bartended full time for almost all of my 20s and a little bit of my 30s. I'm 36 now. I bartended 4 to 5 nights a week. It was a full-time gig for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it in the early half, and then it just really kind of just started to spiral into like more of like a career and then just a full-time job, and then taking some roles more of like in like management and kind of running the show, and I always put a lot of that weight on my shoulders, and was always that person that would never ask for help. I either wanted the failure to be on me or I wanted the success to be on me. And living in Davenport, Iowa, like we're living in the Midwest. I mean, we don't have the ocean, we don't have the mountains, we don't have crazy beautiful vacation destinations just right outside our backyard. So I mean, the drinking industry here is fairly successful in my opinion. So if you're on the outs of wanting to quit drinking, you got to fill the time, and that's not the easiest thing to do around here, if you don't really have any other hobbies. Fortunately for me, I was that typical Midwest athlete. I played soccer, I played basketball, I played golf, and I played golf in college, and I was an avid runner in my 20s. I dabbled with it here and there, and I knew that was kind of be my outlet. There was a handful of people here in the area that were my age, and when I was getting to about 28, 29, 30, and the alcohol just wasn't really fun anymore. I'm at a dead end here, I think. the alcohol just wasn't really that fun anymore. I was just looking for reasons to get out, and they just took a lot of work, and it was just work that I wasn't really willing to put in. Wasn't willing to put in, but I was sitting in a room of jealousy. It was easier for me to sit in a bar stool and give my CrossFit and running friends a lot of shit, because it was easier for me to just sit in a bar stool and talk shit. Where deep down I was jealous. I was jealous of those guys in their mid-late 20s still being a consistent athlete, and deep down I was jealous of that. And when I first quit drinking, I apologized to a lot of people, and that's what I did. I reached out to a lot of people that I had given shit to, and let them know. I was like, hey man, I'm truly sorry, and I really was just jealous of everything that you're out here doing. So when I did make that next effort to quit, like I said, I went cold turkey, and I don't really recommend this for everyone. That's definitely not the way that I train or kind of like guide people that maybe do come to me with like help with sobriety. Is I went like 60 days. I went basically no job for 60 days. I locked myself in my apartment, and if I wasn't locked in my apartment, I was locked in my gym with a few of our coaches there, and I just got consistent at showing up every day, and that was my day one. And because I was very inconsistent in that field, and I was like, I'm going all in here. And fast forward like 7-8 months, the owner of the gym at that time had really kind of pushed me to become a personal trainer, and I had zero confidence. You want to talk about a rough day one there? I had zero confidence there, and he really just pushed his like, the education will come with time, but your personality and your salesmanship and your drive to care and your lane of sobriety is already there, and if people can see that you can do it. And I had already kind of expressed to my community that I had hit rock bottom. I mean, I had licked the floor clean of rock bottom, and with just good guidance and good people and good help, just managed to get myself out of it. And why I'm going to kind of go back onto the whole bar managing thing was, I had mentioned that I wanted all the responsibility. I wanted no help. I wanted all the pressure on me. If I failed, it was me. If I succeeded, I wanted all the glamour. And you got to part ways with that. Accepting help and accepting people that are going to put you on the road for success. And that is one thing that alcohol will get in the way of, is alcohol will make you take someone's advice and you will inhale it like criticism. And now being sober and being in a world of fitness, and there being so many people in my area that are just so well educated, that when someone's in my inbox or whatever, I know they're coming at me with nothing but respect and advice, and I want to learn from those people and be always in a place to learn. So again, time. I spent hours at a bar. I spent hours working at a bar. I spent hours hanging out at one. So if that's what you want to get away from, you got to fill the time, because if you don't have anything to fill that time, your brain is going to go nuts. If you're anything like mine, my brain does not take days off. It is rolling 24/7. So that's where the gym came in. The gym, running, and granted, I'm 3.5 years down the road, and I'm coaching people for endurance events, for 5Ks, for CrossFit, and I'm really just trying to give them the best plays out of my playbook, from the good and bad ones. Not being all in, too much, too gas, no brake, whatever you want to call it. Luckily, I did still have a lot of just natural athleticism when I decided to go sober. So my body was kind of more able to take the progressive overload that I jumped into. But just my biggest recommendation to people is just baby steps. It's just, if you can just make tomorrow better than today, and just look at it that way. And I'm really against the whole like sober October. Is if you're someone that's an avid drinker, or you're an avid, maybe you want to quit smoking cigarettes, and you're someone that's like, oh, I want to go out and do sober October, and you're someone that drinks 28 out of 30 days, and you go through October and you only drink 5 of those 30 days, but you have one of those mindsets where you label that as a failure, like, oh, I can't even go 30 days without drinking. I'm like, yeah, but you just went 80% less than what you did the month before, and probably the year before of every month. So again, it's just time, and just respect yourself and really address where you're at. Comparison is the thief of joy, and if you sit there and you are so afraid to step into a new field or a new atmosphere because you know you're not going to be where you were 15 years ago, you got to get rid of that mindset right away. So we'll leave it at that for now. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do the rest of my day. This is day 1. This is just gonna be a vlog, whatever you want to call it. Of me just kind of rambling, but in time, this will not just be walking up and down an alleyway in the middle of the woods at Credit Island. This is how nervous I was of doing this, that I literally had to go to a park that I knew I would see no people and be able to just kind of be myself and talk and get this off my chest. And if you made it this long in the video, I would appreciate a little subscribe, a like, and maybe some topics in the comment. And if you want to message me directly about any sort of tips on sobriety, I mean, this is just me kind of rambling, but we'll get a little bit more specific over time. So find something to do that you really enjoy. And if you're worried about someone judging you for that, it's probably time to part ways with that person. Okay, so let's talk about something a little current. So it's 2024. I've been a personal trainer for about 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. I started Revive You. Revive was a LLC that my first client, my good buddy Jesse, came up with. We just decided to really just sit down and break down a word that described me. And Revive was definitely something that defined the restart button. And the restart button is something that I kind of use to anyone that's kind of more comparing themselves to an older version of themselves, or a younger version of themselves, I'm sorry. And to show people where I was at 26, at 36, my 36-year-old self would just absolutely dominate my 26-year-old self. So I think the term revive and Revive You, just meaning you, it's you. What do you want to do? And when you work out with me, that's the first thing I say is, what do you want to do? I'm not one of those trainers that just makes you come in and just destroy you. I find out everything about you and what are your goals and what can I do to get you not just physically better, but just mentally and emotionally and consistent, to where every workout is just setting you up for success the next day. And whether the workout is a physical or a chat or just a couple text messages, like that's the trainer that I am. And I look at it now and I just see this broad spread of clients that I have that are from 8 to 13-year-old kids playing sports to 7-year-old women that just trust me with their livelihood and their health, and the fact that they don't care what type of personal training certification I have. It's the comfort that I give them, and I hope that's something that I can express in this channel, and help you out, and hope that you can seek out good people and know that no matter how old you are, you can restart anytime you want. And that's it. So it is Saturday morning. It is 12:30, so it's not Saturday morning. There's a farmer's market in downtown Davenport. Let's go there. All right, I got my lunch. It is a beautiful, beautiful day. I know I just kind of bashed my own little hometown here, but it is a beautiful day in Davenport, Iowa. And if you don't know where Davenport is, it's right on the border of Iowa and Illinois, the Mississippi River. It's back here. Yeah, so comparison, like we were talking about, comparison being the thief of joy. And I was able to kind of put that comparison aside on a physical level and kind of start building the athlete that I wanted to be or become and still becoming, and put that kind of drunken happy hour kid behind me. And now the comparison is more in the lines of YouTube, and I've been very jealous and comparing myself to a lot of these YouTubers that are really no different than I am. And it just seems at the end of the day, their work ethic is just on a different level of mine, and their ability to have self-confidence in themselves. And it makes me look back at the workouts. When I do film my workouts, like for Instagram or Facebook, whatever, those days are 100% executed. And when I put my camera up at the gym, I give it my all. Or if I know someone's filming, I give it my all. Or if I'm running if I'm working out with people that are better than me, I give it my all. And the comparison has kind of revisited myself. And it's been about 1.5 years of me putting off this whole like start a YouTube channel simply for the sake of like embarrassing myself, or like not knowing how to do this. I have no idea how to edit. I mean, this is all going to be iPhone footage. It's going to be pretty raw. It's going to be probably not the best, most creative thing. And the one thing you can do is you can go to your favorite YouTubers and you can go back to like their first videos, and it really should be the motivation of like, you got to have day one. So this is my day one. It's going to be raw, but I look at it already. I'm 1.5 hours into creating this day, and I've enjoyed my day, and I'm doing things that I want to do. And it also goes back to the honesty thing, is when you are no longer living a lie or living in depression or fear or self-doubt, the weight off your shoulders really gets lightened, and you're able to go out and do the things you want to do. So I'm sitting here downtown Davenport, enjoying a little pizza. And would this have been something I would have done today had I been living in my living room in self-doubt, or telling myself like, you can't do this, and you're gonna make a fool of yourself? Like, no. So it's another day one for me. This is the video this is the information that has kept me from doing this and prolonging it, is now I'm entering my house where I'm going to try to upload everything that I've done to my computer. And this is the roadblock. This is the day one that you realize you have to make a change. And in the past, I've had people that, hey, you know what, I'll do this for you, I can help you out, and today it's on my own. I need to learn how to edit. I know it's not going to look great. I know over time I'll figure it out. And then there needs to be a struggle, and I'm actually excited to sit down at my computer and upload this and fumble over it, and know that whatever I post on day one is going to be raw, but we're making progress. Okay, we are home from lunch. We're going to digest a little bit to kind of bring you up to speed of what I will be turning this channel into. A majority of the time will strictly just be the training and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and hopefully promote myself as the walking brand that I am. I definitely like to be the coach that I train a lot of youth athletes, and I want them to see that, hey man, every few weekends I'm putting myself out there on the starting line, and I'm 36 years old and I'm still trying to improve and work hard. And that is really where the YouTube channel comes in, is I spend a lot of my free time. I find myself just procrastinating and watching the YouTubers that are making it, and I see their performance level, and I know these are people that they're just like me out there, but they took the risk and they took the shot to put themselves accountable to create a channel, and I know at the end of the day that's what I want out of this for me, and to be able to put myself in front of a camera and document it. I know I'm going to make every day the best that I can for myself, and that's ideally what I want. So again, the whole why am I doing this? What got me started? The influence, the original influence in 2020, when I was coming home extremely intoxicated. 2020 was a really weird year for me. I had some good months, I had some bad months, and then the bad months just turned into just constant, and it was every day, every night. Just eventually, I deleted a lot of stuff from those times, but like when I see photos and videos of myself from that time, it's pretty sad, and to see the person that I was, I can see it. A lot of people see a fun video or picture of me out and about, but for me, that was an act. That was a fake. And the nights that I spent home alone every night, even though I was in a very depressed state, I was always watching Pikes Peak Marathon documentaries and like ultra documentaries. As like the average person that usually kicks drinking or drugs, you usually see them jumping into some sort of extreme. And for me, living a small time in Breckenridge, Colorado, and like in Summit County, and that, like, the mountains were always something that like my brain would always go back to whenever I would kind of go through like a little bit of like a spurt of motivation. And I was so depressed, and I knew there was someone in me being like, get out of this, you can do this, get out of this. I was watching a lot of documentaries I wasn't going at home listening to like sad music or depressing videos or movies. I was watching documentaries of people my age, like just ripping the mountains. So again, February 12th, 2021, that was my day one, and I made it, and I finally made it to day one. And it's crazy. I never forget that day, even though like months and the addiction is like faded or whatever. I never forget that day. I remember exactly where I was the day before, the last day I drank, and then moving forward with the next year of my life and overcoming a lot of like small little steps to get better. And then in September of 2023, I did complete the Pikes Peak Marathon, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was not something that I don't think I trained very well for. I mean, living in Iowa at sea level, there's not a whole lot of acclimation that we can kind of compare. I know they say like heat and humidity can be like a Midwester's altitude, but that is just, to me, that's just not true. So I went and I was able to check that off my box, and I was able to go and thank that mountain for everything it's done for me. And I've kind of pushed that aside, as I don't think I'll be returning to Pikes Peak anytime soon, maybe for my 40th, but it did inspire me to just completely remind myself that there's no limits, and that if you want to do something and you want to be successful, like, you got to go all in. And that has kind of shifted into HYROX. And since then, I've raced 2 HYROX pros, one in Chicago last year, and then one in March earlier this year in Houston. And I kind of went about it the same way that I trained for Pikes Peak. And I was doing very small, minimal workouts, thinking that this was getting the job done, and that I would just be able to just use like adrenaline and athleticism and willpower to like get the job done. Because when I think of something like HYROX, it's like an indoor Pikes Peak Marathon. Like, it just gets harder and harder and harder and harder. And if you're not ready for it, it's going to slap you in the face as hard as it can. And just when you think everything is fine, it's not. And that's one thing I love about HYROX, is that I have been able to now coach people on this, not only from what I have learned from successful coaches online and on YouTube, but from my own experience, being able to put myself in the field based on my own training. And since then, now I am with a running coach. I am more experienced on the strength side, to where I have set aside almost an entire year for November 16th when we go to Chicago. And I have realized that you need to build a massive foundation. So being able to step back and get out the dry erase board and write down 4 to 5 months of just building an aerobic base. And that should be the fun part. If you're going to get into a new field, if you're going to try to quit something and maybe you want to quit drinking and get into art or photography or singing or playing the piano or anything, like build that base. And that base should be fun and it should be chill and it should be a learning experience. And then you're eventually going to be able to add creativity to that base. And that's where I'm at now. My base has been established this entire year. I've done way more swimming and biking and easy running and established that foundation. And now it's time to do the fun part. And that's where the YouTube channel for me comes in, to where I know what it takes of the intensity and the strength and the speed to get the results that I'd like to get in Chicago. And I think having a camera directly in my face saying like, it's time to go to work, you've got 90 minutes of your day, it's time to go to work, we're gonna get the job done. So I'm excited to, today's gonna be fairly easy though. It is Saturday, August 31st. Labor Day is Monday. I am going to probably sign up for one of our local fundraising 5Ks and 5 mile. I haven't decided which one I'm going to do. I haven't had the best year with 5Ks. Just haven't done a whole lot of high heart rate training, so the last couple 5Ks have stung and blown up pretty bad. So I might just be looking at like a 5 mile tempo on Monday, but I would like to document that a little bit. And then as well as I am a cross country coach for our junior college here in the area. We just had our first meet last night. It was super awesome. I'm super proud of those guys. Cross country is one of the biggest adrenaline rushes, even just as a coach, and just everybody screaming. It was so much fun. So I want to always have that feeling. So I'm going to continue to have that feeling. And I think by using a YouTube channel will allow me to avoid the days of procrastination on my couch and being able to, like, you know what, I'll just check the box tomorrow, because that's not what I'm about. And that's what I don't want this channel to be about. So I'm gonna chill out for a little bit, digest some food, get some hydration, and then we're gonna go hit a 4 to 6 mile run. Okay, it's about 4:30. It's 4:30 on what I would say is like the most beautiful day of the year, and I've been pretty stressed about getting this day rolling, but I think it was the right day to get started. I'm super excited with kind of how my whole day has gone, just with having this mindset of just kind of getting out of that state of comfort and investing a little bit of money into my phone, into my sound, and getting a tripod and just kind of planning out my day and executing on it. So we're gonna go for about a 5 mile run. You can see here we're in downtown Davenport. Right over there is Illinois. There's actually a really cool little like trail island over there called Sylvan Island. We're gonna go and just do a little loop across the bridge and a little loop around the island, and then come back, and then call it a day. This bridge was built a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, I think. That is the Iowa side, that's the Illinois side. Our QC Marathon actually touches all 5 of the Quad Cities. So you got Moline, Rock Island, East Moline down there, you got Bettendorf, you got downtown Davenport. It is a 26 miles through 5 cities, 2 states, and also goes through the Arsenal Island. But we are gonna head way over there. Okay, so you come from downtown Moline, bike path continues to go that way. You head to downtown Rock Island, or you can hop across this bridge. The great thing about Sylvan is there's a perimeter loop, which is about 9/10 of a mile, and it goes all the way around the island, and you'll actually see the Mississippi on that side. Or you can make it a little bit more technical, and you've got a bunch of pretty tight like single tracks in here for running, for mountain bike riding, for fat tire, and there's so much creativity jam-packed inside this like 1 mile loop. So if you ever find yourself in the Midwest or in the Quad Cities for exact, definitely search Sylvan Island and you can log a lot of miles. This is also a really nice place to come like on a really windy or like shitty day, as it tends to kind of block off the elements back here. Okay, run is completed. 6.1 miles, 8:17 a mile pace, 49 minutes, 45 seconds. We're gonna call that day one. Day one is in the books. That is a hurdle that I have officially jumped over. It's about, what time is it? 5:50. So a good full 7-8 hours today on this beautiful Saturday of kind of getting out of that zone and committing to a full day of just documenting the things that I want to document and stepping into that zone of editing and filming and getting sound and getting the correct light. And the good thing is that I know I have some resources that are going to see this content and want to help me create the best videos that I possibly can. But today I thought it was best if I just kind of go raw and just filmed a nice long vlog of who I am and what I want to do moving forward, and how I can hopefully help you with either your fitness goals or your sobriety goals, any sort of like mental demons. I want to make myself available as much as possible, and as well as this platform allows me to put my best foot forward and be my own accountability. Because at the end of the day, that's what I want. I want to know that I put myself on the line, and when I hold myself accountable, like a YouTube channel, that I'm going to get the job done. So day one in the books. We'll see y'all on Labor Day.